Continues to be in focus. There is a buyback which the company has announced. Rima, tell us more, the details for now.
Well, the first important detail is that the board will meet on 11th of September. This would be the company's fifth buyback since its listing in 1993. The next important question is how much can the company buy back? Well, the rules say you can go ahead with 10% of your net worth without any shareholder approval. You can even go up to 25% of your net worth. If you do 10%, that means approximately the stock is down that would be about 9,400, 9,500 crore in size. If you go up to 25,000 crore, then the buyback size is 23,000 crore rupees. Now that looks unlikely, 23,000 crore, because the cash on the books itself is 25,000 crores. So it's unlikely the company will exhaust all the cash balances for the buyback. So what is realistic is about 10 to 15%, which ties in. The last three buybacks were in the range of about 9,300 was the last one. The street expectation is Morgan Stanley that the buyback will be of about 10 to 14,000 crore rupees. That would be 1.3 to 2%. And typically, the buyback happens at an 18 to 25% of at a premium to the market price. So 10 to 14,000 at about an 18 to 25% premium. And that ties in with the cash that the company has. Also, the second important question is open versus, a tender buyback. Now, remember from 1st of April 2025, open market buyback is disallowed. So it's going to be a tender buyback. So that would be some numbers to keep in mind. 11th of September is the date.
Interesting. And as you mentioned, right, that it has to be a tender of a buyback because the previous three instances have been from the open market. So in that scenario, how has Infosys reacted in the past instances? You mentioned this is the fifth one that they have announced.
This will be the fifth one. So we have four. Because, back in the day, the company used to pay more by dividends. Then about a few years back, the rules changed, right? So it made it more beneficial for the company to pay out via buyback, which is why for the last few years, they've been doing a buyback. This is the performance after 3 months. As you can see, it's been very, very mixed. There's no real trend. And one reason for that is there's hardly any promoter holding. So the free float is very large. So even if you buy back a 1.5%, a 2% stake at a tender buyback, at a premium, it doesn't move the needle. And also from the time the company announces and the time the buyback completes, there will be earnings also. Because in the case of Infosys, even ADR shareholders will be allowed to participate. So the stock would typically move basis the earnings, performance, because you will have the October numbers which also come in, maybe even January, depends on when the stock, closes.
Okay, so, this is about Infosys. Who from the IT universe is eligible for a buyback now?
So there are 5 large IT companies, right? You've got Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech Mahindra. Who did I miss? I missed one. Right. Anyway, we've got 5. HCL Tech. We've got 5 of them, right? Now, out of the 5, HCL and Tech Mahindra are not very regular with their buybacks, okay? So HCL has only done 2 buybacks. Tech Mahindra has only done 1 buyback. So let's exclude them. So you're left with 3 of them now. Infosys has already announced. Yeah. And both Wipro and TCS are eligible for the buyback because the rule states after 1 year of completion, you are eligible for a buyback. So TCS completed its buyback in December of 2023, Wipro in July 2023. So investors, shareholders are all waiting for these two to come out and announce a buyback.
Awaiting the buyback from Infosys, and has been the trend with IT companies, right? They have a policy of returning X amount of cash to their shareholders. So how much?
But they do it over a period of time.
Over a period of time.
So in the case of Infosys, it's over a 5-year period. We will return.
So how much have these IT companies in general returned to shareholders via buybacks and dividends and so on? How has that been the trend?
There has been a lot of criticism over the past few weeks now, saying that Indian IT companies are rich with cash, they're flush with talent. Then, why didn't you all also come up with a DeepSeek or an OpenAI, right? Why did you use your cash for only paying shareholders? Instead, you should have redeployed and redirected towards, deep tech things, right? Which could have made the IT companies more than a services model, right? That is the backdrop, which is why we decided to try and find out how much have IT companies paid out, right? From 2017 to 2025, so excluding this infy, whatever they announced, 10, 15,000, we'll have to wait by to see, companies have paid back almost 6 lakh crore rupees, which is about close to about $70 billion. And this is converting it in today's market rate of 88.
Wow.
Right? If you had done it in 2017, 2018, 2019, when the dollar rate was, the dollar rate was much lower at that point, right? The number would have been inflated. So which is why we thought that, let's just try and find out. This is the amount. Now, we're not in a position to say what the company should have done.
Yeah.
But generally, of course, the shares have been rewarded. It acts as a base price. It signals confidence when a promoter or a company buys back because they say, okay, we believe the share price is fairly valued, maybe even undervalued. And even in bad times, when there is a buyback price, it sort of acts like a cushion or a floor to the market price.
Okay, that's very comprehensive. Thank you so much, Reema, for making sense of this entire move and talk about the sector overall as well. But with that, we'll do one thing. We'll slip into a break. Up next, we'll put focus on the crypto market with Token Bay Capital's Lucy.